Hello and welcome to today's video. So I'm currently stood in front of my biomass willow that I grow every year to use in parts of the garden and weave into the hedges to help make them more secure. But the idea of today's video is to give you a flavour of what our Rustic Haven is all about, and we use as many sustainably produced items as we can, and a living willow hedge is a great example of that. So this is the wood pile that's currently being processed, ready for next winter. Our house is only heated by wood, so one of the jobs that I have to do at this time of the year is get the local tree surgeon to dump off some of the trees that he's cutting down, and then process it into this pile to restock our woodshed in advance of the winter. Otherwise we're going to be cold, so it's my gym. So this is our primary greenhouse where we start off all our seedlings. Currently we have some lemongrass growing, some okra, that's a purple okra, some new tomatoes to replace some that we've got damaged in the polytunnel, which we've taken from the shoots coming out on the side. And then we've got lots and lots of chilies and aubergines that are in pots. Hopefully this year we will be able to overwinter some of the chilies if we keep them in their pots and grow them on here. And the aubergines are going to be planted out in our other greenhouse in the near future. But otherwise everything's doing quite well. We have some melons that you'll see, that you'll have seen in the bed down there, and a replacement sweet corn that we've nursed back to health in case we have any that are lost in our bed. But this is where we start nearly all of our seeds before they get planted out. Here we have a arch that we've been making. It's using old bits of sheep wire and some hazel cut from the hedges, and we've got Greek beans running up it. They're like runner beans, but you only harvest them for the seeds. And alongside that we have some squash plants that are going to produce squash, hopefully about this size. So they're Burgess buttercups. They're nice, they will look lovely hanging down, but equally it's a really efficient use of space because we're growing it more vertically. So we're in the orchard now, which has got a mix of cooking apples and eating apples. The children like spending a lot of time down here, well, as do we, because we've got hammocks strung between the trees, which is nice in there, sort of sitting in the afternoon. And behind me is the children's tower that I made for them with a fantasy sort of theme. It stretches up. They've got another platform higher up where they can sleep in the summer holidays if they want to. And when you lie in there, not only do you feel like you're amongst the canopy of the orchard, but you can also see the stars through the windows in the roof. I'm standing in the main vegetable area at the moment. We have been struggling with the fact that the house and garden are very old, and vegetables have been grown here for a very long time, hundreds of years potentially, and the amount of organic matter in this part of the garden is a little bit reduced, so we're having to put a great deal of compost in to try and improve the soil. I started last year creating these, not raised beds, but mounds to grow between, with growing the footpaths. The perennial weeds have been getting better, but I've started to put down some plastic between the rows to try and help maintain that, because it's been a bit challenging. But as you can see, we've got some seeds still being harvested from last year's crops left over. The leeks are starting to really come up with the rain that we've been having, and the potatoes are doing well, as is the giant Monge 2 in the background to me. Here in the polytunnel we're mainly growing tomatoes because that's what seems to have done the best in here since it was installed. We also have lettuce intercropping to make use of the space whilst the tomatoes are establishing, and we have some Mexican coriander, which is a really unique flavour, alongside normal coriander and a variety of basils, and some cucumbers over here. There are about 8 different types of tomato that we're growing in here. They're mainly larger vine tomatoes because we then can pulp them and use it as sauces throughout the year, as well as enjoying it through the summer. This is our chicken area. The house is here, and they've got an inner run within this larger enclosed area. It's surrounded by chicken wire, but when I last kept chickens, that was really good, but there were a few issues with the height of it. So since then, over the last few winters, I've been planting biomass style willow and weaving it into a fedge, which is a living interwoven hedge, which has raised the height to 6 feet all the way around, as well as the root systems, stopping hopefully any digging to get underneath the fence to get into where the chickens primarily are, so we can open it every day and let them run around. If we're in the garden, we will sometimes open up the gate and they're able to explore everywhere else, which makes it a really nice sort of experience having your flock of chickens moving around. So this is another area of the garden where we're growing vegetables, but we have cabbages, purple sprouting in this end of the bed, and we have melons over here. There are 3 types in there, so hopefully they're going to grow. It's all a bit of an experiment this year. We haven't grown vegetables down here before, but we've used the ground matting with mushroom compost underneath and grass clippings to increase the humus content, and then we've planted through that so that we can keep the weed suppression down. We didn't take the turf off beforehand, we've just kept the mat down and have been using the worms, which have been really interesting to see because they've increased dramatically. And on this side we have lots of squash, about 50 plants or so, and then a arch of runner beans and pole beans coming in. And at the back is our sweet corn block with a variety of different sweet corns, and hopefully one of them is a popcorn sweet corn, which will be quite good, being able to grow around popcorn this year.